What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Ham and Spam Retro Review, the show where two lifelong friends replay the games from our childhood, see if they stand the test of time.
Check us out online at hamandspam.com, where you can find links to our social media, including Twitter, where it's at hamandspam1,
Instagram at Ham and Spam Games,
and search us on Facebook, Ham and Spam Retro Review,
and coming soon to YouTube.
eventually. Thanks for listening.
Hope you enjoy the show. All right, here we are, episode 12, Clint.
Yes, and I am super Sonic excited.
You're literally shaking.
I have been looking forward to this moment just to review a Sonic game. I didn't care. It could have been Sonic 06 at this point, and I would have been so happy. Well, maybe not Sonic 06, but...
Well, this is the Sonic game that most consider the Sonic game, right?
It really is. It's arguably the most popular. Now, in my opinion, not the best.
Okay.
I'll save that for another review.
All right.
But this is arguably the most popular game.
And it is Sonic 2.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The one that introduced one Miles Tails Prower.
I had that sheet with all that stuff you had written down about the game, and I seem to have lost it, but I'm sure you have it memorized.
Just about.
That's much you love this game.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned the sheet too, so we'll go ahead and we'll address this as well. You and I listened to last week's episode, which was Halo.
Exactly.
And I thought it was okay, but I thought we could have done a better job, and I think you kind of concurred on that.
Yeah, we sound a little scattered.
Yeah,
everything together.
You know, we kind of pride ourselves on obviously reviewing the game, you know, in a real-time current playthrough, and
not so much our physical appearance or our general well-being.
Well, that's very true. We pride ourselves on doing a fairly thorough playthrough, and then giving a review based on that. That's kind of how our format's been.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing so, you know, we found that people kind of seem to like us talking about, you know, our memories of it, what we kind of think about it, those kind of things. Well, in doing that, we don't really choreograph anything that we do. We talk about this and go, oh, yeah, hey, what about this part? Well,
Yeah.
Hey, man, what about this part? So nothing went in order. So we were, you know, honestly, I think we did a good job, but I don't think we did the game justice.
Well, just like Halo, we only shoot from the hip.
I think it's the second time you've made that reference.
Probably. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't feel like we did it justice because I'm a huge Halo fan.
Yeah.
It's the first, the Bungie Halo games.
Yeah.
So
Well, I tend to agree because I listen to it and you know the way we kind of have it structured, you know, going through the actual game review of it, I think we probably could have done a better job. But it's not necessarily lack of preparation, as much as it was. as much as it was, we just didn't have it. We didn't have a map, I guess,
an
to
outline.
kind of how we wanted to go. There you go, an outline. That's a better word. That's why we're great at this. I say stupid crap, and then I have a long pause because I don't know the word I'm trying to find. And it's something as simple as map. I mean, even Dora the Explorer can find a map. Come on. So, but yeah, going forward, we're going to try to map out,
kind of outline it, kind of, you know, stick to
not so much a format. We have a format, but
is
an
that the right
itinerary.
word? Itinerary.
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't know.
Itinerary just tells you want to talk about this at certain times.
Sometimes I say words that I think are right, and they're not always right.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
So
it's like
obviously, but my issue.
That word sounds expensive. I'm going to say it.
But my issue is I'll get stuck. Like I'll be in the middle of a thought, and I'll start thinking about the word I need to say next, and I'll just get stuck, and I'll just kind of look over at you, and you go, map. So,
But-
today,
but this is based entirely on our own feedback because no one else is giving us feedback.
well, mostly we have our friends that say, "Hey, you guys, I enjoyed the episode, whatnot," except for that one. Casey, we're never gonna let you live that down.
I don't think I've spoken to Casey since then.
Ugh. I called and wished him happy birthday today. Happy birthday, Casey. We are recording
Oh,
this.
yeah, it is. Today is his birthday.
We are recording this on Tuesday, July the 9th. And today is our buddy Casey's birthday. So happy birthday, even though you're not going to be able to listen to this until Sunday.
No, he has access to all our stuff.
Well, he does, but I don't know if he'd actually do it or not.
Yeah, he's probably deleted it all after we didn't like his game. I'm sorry, Casey. I love you, buddy.
But yeah, going forward, like you said, kind of have a map, if you will, to kind of how we want to go through the game. So
right,
we're going to do a better job for you guys
because we're having fun and we want it to be fun and entertaining, but we also want to be coherent, and structured.
Yeah, because it makes it sound like we didn't just throw something up against the wall and it stuck. Because that's literally every podcast up until even this one to an extent too.
Well, you had a great guideline written out, and I've lost it.
Well, it just goes.
Oh, hey, I found it.
Hey, there it is. Okay. Well, you ever heard of a little thing called the internet?
I have not. What is it?
Well, I don't know. And it's funny because, and I don't want to dive right off into Sonic right yet, but like the very first thing I have on here is it came out in November 1994, and you've already pointed out that is factually incorrect.
That's fake news.
It was November of 1992. So along with being fat and breathing very heavily into a microphone, I also have fat fingers and tend to look at 2s and press 4s instead.
92 was a great year.
It was a good year.
Remember what happened in 92?
Well, Alabama claimed its 29th national championship.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking
It's
about?
113th national championship. So roll Tide, Casey. Huge
Tide.
Bama fan, that Casey.
He will. He's going to never listen to this podcast anymore.
He knows where I live. He's going to find me.
But like we said earlier, we're recording this on Tuesday after we just recorded, Friday the week before.
I think so.
Hammy, how's your week going?
Well, I've gotten sunburnt so far. So
yeah, you were glowing red, sir.
How about the heat index today was 106.
I know. Gosh almighty. It's just been
Fahrenheit for all of our international listeners.
For our 5 downloads in Ontario. If you would give us,
maple syrup.
No, we don't need maple syrup. We have Vermont for that.
I would rather have Canadian maple syrup.
You're probably right. For our Ontario listeners, if there's more than one, hit us up on social media. We'll give you a shout out because you've made us. Well, that's not international. That's intercontinental.
There you go.
Kind of like the title.
Kind of like the title I've got on SmackDown too.
Speaking of wrestling, hey, good segue. Good job, Hammy.
Uh-huh.
That was not planned, by the way.
I'll be here all week.
I've been teasing you with this off air. That I have a cousin Jimmy story.
The nefarious cousin Jimmy.
The nefarious cousin Jimmy, and I think he likes being called the nefarious cousin Jimmy. I talked to him the other day, and he listened to the episode, loved it, thought it was great, thought that we didn't tell all the wrestling stories, which thankfully we didn't because there's going to be plenty of wrestling games on this podcast, so we don't want to give them all away right off the bat. But he was upset because we didn't tell one story in particular, and we will save it. But then he was also upset that he didn't get a chance to come over and battle us to retain his tag team championship.
Or to get it back now.
Well, to get it back now.
My gosh, Jimmy, you're the world champion. What else was he? Like the European champion, hardcore champion?
Hardcore champion, yeah.
He might have been the women's champion too. I don't know. I don't know how he pulled that off.
Well, whenever that game come out, 2001, 2002, I don't think you could have been the women's champion.
Well,
but in 2019, you can, though.
I'll say this. He's got the sweetest entrance I've ever seen.
With his Fu Manchu and his non-circulating tires on his motorbike. Not a motorcycle, but a motorbike.
His homemade NWO shirt. He did a good job on it.
Yeah. Well, considering there was no NWO at that time, the WCW was still around. So
maybe we should.
We are wrestling nerds, by the way.
Maybe we should join forces with the nefarious cousin Jimmy. With the new NWO.
No, because then,
Yeah,
I love him. I don't like him that much. Hopefully he'll never hear this one.
he will.
But yeah, he enjoyed the episode. So there's a new listener, but yet once again, it's someone that we know. So
there, yeah, and blood related.
We don't need another one of us listening for sure. But anywho, yeah, the week's young. Work. That's been about it.
Heat. My gosh, this heat.
It's been terrible. You know, last week I took off work and did some stuff around the house, and literally on Monday I lost 10 pounds in just water weight. Like seriously, I did. Like I would when I'd go to the bathroom, it was like neon brown almost. And I didn't think brown could be neon. Like
you might want to go to the doctor.
No, I'm good now. But yeah, I had to chug a couple of bottles of water when I finally made it home.
That's a good sign of extreme dehydration.
Extreme dehydration. Ding. Yeah, we've talked about trying to put a little dinger here in the studio for whatever.
Oh, easy there.
Hey, easy. Dingers. For every time I repeat Hammy. So
I'm sure I repeat you too. We just don't notice it.
Probably not. I'm so self-conscious about it now. It's not even funny. Like I have to, like you could say one thing and I could like just kind of trail off trying to think of something else to say in that moment. So
yeah.
But anywho, well, let's dive into Sonic 2. Let's hear one of the iconic sounds of Sonic 2, and we'll get into the review.
Awesome. Be right back. All right,
man. How iconic is that? I'm still like,
well,
I'm fanboying right now. Bad, hard.
Had a great soundtrack.
Yeah, a lot of iconic
yeah.
level themes, and you know, even when you and I were playing through it earlier, you were talking about how you've kind of paid attention more to the background and stuff, and thought that it, you know, maybe it doesn't necessarily hold up, but you know, an HD remake would be great for it if they actually did one.
Yeah,
not called Sonic 4
or Sonic Mania
or Sonic. That's true. But yeah, this, you know, for what they did with the hardware they had at the time.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I thought they did a really good job.
And I've been talking to Jeff all week. He's been telling me some of his favorite Sonic tracks.
Sure.
And mine, of course, is Chemical Plant Zone.
Well, it's got to be, because that is my ringtone.
Yeah,
whenever on your phone. So
yeah, you call me, it's that. That's why I don't answer half the time. I let it play out.
Well, you know, I called you this afternoon to make sure we were still on for recording, and it rang and rang and rang, and finally went to voicemail. Literally about 2 minutes later, you called me back, and I was like, yeah, he's listening. He's listening to it. So, but yeah, Sonic, as I pointed out on my notes, I'm wrong because it says 94, but it came out in 92.
Wow.
The second best-selling game all time on Genesis.
See, that surprised me. I figured it would have been number one.
It's not number one because of that version 1 Genesis, the big one that had the little slide rule and a headphone jack.
Yeah.
Whenever it came prepackaged with Sonic 1, so that made it the number one selling. So it's only second to Sonic 1, but it sold roughly 6 million copies.
Is it possible to see those numbers without the prepackaged?
They probably didn't keep up with it at that point.
Because honestly, I don't really remember Sonic 1.
You don't remember Sonic 1?
No. I really don't. Sonic 2 is the one I remember the most.
I fell in love. My uncle had a
With your uncle.
yeah. What?
You fell in love with your uncle.
No, that is what I said. Okay, I fell in love with Sonic because my uncle had a Sega Genesis, the version 1 Sega Genesis, and he had the football games and all that kind of stuff. Which for a long time Sega was a sports game.
It was.
Yeah, I mean everybody knew it for the sports stuff. So.
Was it Sonic's first appearance as like something hanging from a rearview mirror in a racing game?
I don't know if that was the first one or not, but
and wasn't Sonic 1 on the Master System as well?
It was, and they brought it over to the Genesis whenever it came over. But if you'll notice on a lot of your Sonic games, it says not for resale.
Yeah,
and that's an indication that it came with the system.
Oh,
so
interesting.
There you go. I got Sonic 2 with the version 2 Genesis, the little
much
square,
sleeker looking,
right? Not near as bulky, as the other. And they made a version 3 that was even smaller than this.
I did not know that.
It wasn't. It was way toward the end life of the Genesis, which wasn't long after Sonic 2. But this right here is the game that kind of, I don't want to say started the war, but it absolutely gave Sega some ammunition for the war.
I think it was the one that showed that this was going to be a real deal war.
Right.
It was going to be competitive.
So one of the things that a lot of people will notice, going from Sonic 1 to Sonic 2, obviously there's a couple. Obviously there's miles, tails, per hour.
Yeah.
And if you take the tails out of it, it's miles per hour, which sounds a lot like miles per hour.
I didn't know that before I saw it on your sheet here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like, this is what research does for you.
I've learned 2 things.
A lot of people consider this Sonic 1 perfected. Some of the issues they had with Sonic 1 was a lot of times you got to go backwards to go forward because, there's hills and the loop-de-loops and whatnot. And they didn't put a spin dash in it. So, a lot of the remakes and stuff, you can either play with the options and make it where you have a spin dash in Sonic 1.
So you just had to take off running and build up momentum.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And like there's a couple of spots in the first couple of levels of Sonic 1 where you can roll, do the speed roll through some of the dirt. Hell, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, there's some secret hidden.
Real professional here on the Spam Retro here.
Well, it's
roll through the dirt.
Well, it's the background, I guess. But anyway, you kind of tunnel through,
and
get to some secret areas, which I didn't know that until way after I started playing Sonic 2. But that was like the only way to get any of that. Any way to kill enemies or anything was either jump on them or rolled into them. So there's no spin dash. But one of the other, and I think this is my biggest complaint with Sonic 1 was you've got this blue hedgehog that you've billed as being the fastest thing in video games, and he plays so fast. Well, that's the Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay. But for Sonic's fast, but every time you turn around, you're having to stop.
Yeah.
So it became more of a platformer with a fast character. Well, in Sonic 2, they kind of, and that's why I say it perfected that, it was more about speed. You could run through a level in seconds, literally. And this is the first time that it really seemed like you could almost pick your path. You could take a high path and go super fast. You could take a low path and kind of do platforming, or you can do a little bit of both by staying in the middle.
Okay.
So that's kind of what's kind of become the MO of a Sonic game.
Always ended up on the bottom somehow.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you don't jump just right, a lot of times, but, especially the first couple of those, you could really get up some speed. So, they introduced a new special stage in this game.
Yeah, because the first one had the blue bubbles.
No, that was the third one. The first...
Really?
Oh, my goodness.
I don't remember Sonic 1.
Okay, Sonic 1, you had to have 50 rings at the end of a level, and when you hit the spinner that indicated you had beat the level, there's a big, gigantic ring at the end of the level, and you had to jump through it. And what that would do, that would teleport you to the special stage. Well, the special stage was a lot like Sonic 4's special stage. Sonic 4 Episode 1's special stage.
Yeah, you've lost me.
Well, anyway, you've got this...
I'll take your word for it.
You've got this big level that continually spins. So it's, if you get motion sickness, you might not want to play it.
All right.
But anyway, it continually spins. You have to make your way to the kind of the center of the level, and there's a Chaos Emerald there. And that's just kind of it. You just...
Okay, I do remember it now. Yeah.
Okay, well, in that one, there were 6 Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
And if you got all 6, you didn't get anything. I mean, the only thing that it changed in Sonic 1 was when you beat the game in Sonic 1, you go through the whole credits and everything, and at the end of the game, if you didn't have all the emeralds, you'd have Robotnik, because that's his real name, not Eggman. That's a gripe I have.
Evo Robotnik?
Yeah. Ivio.
Yeah. Ivio Robotnik.
Anyway,
does not look anything like Jim Carrey.
That's another complaint. Anyway, if you didn't get all the emeralds, say you got 5 instead of the 6, he would sit there and juggle the emerald back and forth, or how many emeralds you did not get, and say, try again. Well, then if you got all 6 of them at the end, it would say the end, and he'd be jumping on the end. It's kind of cartoonish.
Okay.
But when you got all 6 emeralds, it didn't do anything. It just said you got all the emeralds. That's basically it. Big whoop. You got all the emeralds.
Congratulations.
But if you really think about it, Sonic 1 had 3 stages, and they weren't real long stages, but it was a lot of platforming, not very fast. In Sonic 2, they went to 2 stages. And the way you got into the special stages there was the little goalpost that was kind of a marker for if you died, you would go back to the goalpost.
Yeah. That checkpoint.
Right. So if you had 50 rings when you crossed a goalpost, you would see the little stars around the top. Well, the stars would start out small and they grow big, and they come back small and disappear. So you had a specific time that you had to jump into it.
Yeah.
But when you jumped into it, it took you to the special stage. Well, this special stage was more like a pipe track, like a pipeline. And it was just it never ended.
It was
went
3D.
on forever. And it was a little more 3D. You're always running and you can jump, but you go left and right, and the track itself will kind of wind left, wind right, up, down, whatever. But then it gave you goals to, get rings, and if you hit your goals, you had 3 goals. If you hit your first 2, obviously you go to the third one, and if you get the third goal, then you get a Chaos Emerald. If you didn't hit your goals, you just warp back out. Well, the neat thing about that was in Sonic 1, you had one opportunity to get the big ring at the end. So in Act 1 of Level 1, you had a chance. In Act 2, you had a chance. Well, Act 3 was a boss, so you didn't have a chance.
Okay, so that's where the acts came from. It was giving you 2 chances to get that.
Right. So, and then when you went to the second level, again in Sonic 1, you had Act 1 to get a ring, Act 2 to get a ring, and that was it. And then when you went to the third level, you had Act 1 and Act 2 to get a ring.
Okay.
So you couldn't get all 6 Chaos Emeralds before the end of the third act. You had to get through at least the third act and have a flawless special stage to get all 6 emeralds. If you didn't, obviously you could keep going until the end of the game and it still had a chance to get the Chaos Emeralds. Well, what they did in this one is they made the goalpost very plentiful. So literally in the first level of the first zone, you could get all 7 Chaos Emeralds. And it's quite a feat, and it's pretty neat that if you can do that, because you're playing through the very first level as Super Sonic, which is a new character. Well, not a new character; it's a new transformation of Sonic. Instead of the 6 emeralds, they added a 7th. So if you get all 7, and the next time you collect 50 rings, you jump up twice, you become Super Sonic, which is basically Invincible Sonic that's yellow.
And you're telling me it's based off Dragon Ball Z?
It is 100% based off of Super Saiyan Goku and Dragon Ball Z.
Wow.
So, Dragon Ball was a very big influence to a lot of games, especially those that had, your superpowers and whatnot, transformation superpowers.
Especially ones, I guess, that came from Japan, because it was...
Oh, yeah.
It was big over there way before it was big over here.
Oh, yeah. And, and you and I have talked about trying to find some old school Dragon Ball Z games to to try to review and just like, because we played some of the newer ones that's once it's made its way over to America and it's gotten popular, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, we've played a ton of them. But I never, there's one on Sega that I've never played.
Yeah, there's a few on Super Nintendo that
sure.
I think they're in Japanese. But from what I've heard, they're really good, but I do have some bad news for you. They're RPGs.
Dadgummit. I knew you were going to say that. I knew when I looked at you and you said bad news that's what you were going to say.
What else we got?
Well, a good thing about this game was, and it's not necessarily called this, but it had the perfect little brother mode.
Oh yeah.
So growing up, we all had Nintendos, we all had Super Nintendos, and it was turn based. You had a turn, little brother has a turn, or sister, or whatnot. This game, you had both players on the screen at the same time. Well, you had your main player, which was Sonic, but if you had a second controller plugged in, you could be Tails. Well, Tails, if you weren't on the screen, you just kind of weren't on the screen. So as long as you stayed with Sonic, you could play. And if you ever got lost, Tails' big power was he had two tails, so he could fly, which makes no sense because eventually wouldn't his tails get crossed up or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
I never understood how that worked, but
the physics just aren't there.
But as long as little brother could keep up with you, he could play right alongside of you. And if you ever lost him off screen, then he would fly back on the screen where you were, and you just keep playing. So he couldn't die. He could fall in a hole and die, and go off screen, and he just fly back down.
Was it 2 or 3 that you could pick up Sonic with Tails?
It was 3 was the first time you could do it, but since they've gone to iOS and these kind of things, they've kind of backtracked that power a little bit to some of the other games.
Really?
Yeah. So I always thought that there was a good mode, and especially like in the special stages, it can help you because those rings can be all over the place. You could literally have when you're going down that track, you could have rings on the left side and the right side at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, if you have 2 players, it makes it extremely easy because you can just kind of split up, and both characters could get the rings at the same time.
But you're right. It is the perfect little brother mode because it's like, little brother wants to have a turn, or little sister.
Sure.
And it's like, here, you can play at the same time. You're helping.
Yeah. You're helping me. Hey, go get that ring.
Wow.
And I'm going to leave you behind.
That's a cool little detail.
Well, and it's just, the original Mario Brothers, that's the one we always kind of go back to because it was our first game.
Yeah.
For me and my sister.
You took turns between Mario and Luigi.
Exactly. You had to take turns, and it was, Clint would get all the way to level 8 before he died, and then here comes Amanda trying to, as Luigi, trying to catch up, and she might die in World 1-1, and then I beat the game before she has another chance. So she, I caught a lot of flack for that one. And then it was let your sister be first player, and of course it did the same thing a lot of
Mario
times.
Mario dies on 1-1,
right.
Luigi beats the game.
Yeah, exactly. So,
or like Donkey Kong Country, just tag your little sister in.
Right. This was the first Sonic game to have multiplayer in it too.
I've played the multiplayer.
The multiplayer is not good.
I didn't like it.
So you take a screen that is, already only so big back in the day because, we don't have 85-inch TVs in 1992. So you take it and you split it in half, a top half and a bottom half. So already it's distorted, and you're trying to basically load the game twice over because it's the same enemies, the same rings, the same power-ups and everything. It's just whoever can beat the level the fastest. There's a lot of times where if you go through it and you are, hitting boxes at the same time and everything, it will slow the game down. It will lag very badly. But there was only 5 including the special stage levels that you could play. It was the first level.
Yeah, because I doubt you could do Sky Chase.
No, you couldn't do Sky Chase. You could do the first level, which is Emerald Hill. You could do the second level, which is Chemical Plant. You could do Mystic Cave. It might have only been 4, and then you could do the special stage. But the special stage was it was a one screen. It was a regular special stage, and just whoever got the most rings, which kind of sucked because if you're Sonic, you're automatically in front, and Tails can jump over you, but then Sonic can jump right back over you.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there just chading.
I remember doing that a
who's
lot.
first and second, and it kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But I guess it was kind of groundbreaking at the time for a multiplayer.
Just don't let little brother or sister find out about that mode.
Yeah, for real.
That'll ruin it real quickly.
But yeah, the levels they're classic. I talked about the first one there. Emerald Hill. Emerald Hill is your classic easy level 1 Sonic game. It's always something. It's always green. It's always fast. It's always easy. Always.
Yeah, it just looks like a nice little peaceful, serene.
So you got like
the ocean in the background.
Yeah, just it's very peaceful, like you said. There's no like real industrial whatever, and just like any other Sonic game.
Which by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Robotnik turning the animals into robots?
That's what I was going to say. Just like any other Sonic game, except for like two games. Robotnik has kidnapped the little bunnies and rabbits and those are the same thing, but ducks and seals and chickens and all this stuff, and
the bunnies and rabbits.
Yeah, all the bunnies and rabbits.
So just one species.
And
we'll be fine.
He has turned them into a robot of a different, all different kind of robot. So it's trapped. So what Sonic's supposed to do is go through and free his animal buddies. But there's a lot of times I just skip over killing the bad guys.
So you're not killing them. You're just breaking them out of the robot.
Right. You're freeing them.
So they haven't been turned into robots. They're trapped inside robots.
Sure.
So are they being used as some kind of weird like battery?
I guess so.
Like draining their life or something.
I don't know if it's draining their life. I think I don't know.
think it is.
I don't know. I mean, and this might not be a good time to bring up the cartoon, but the cartoon, it turned you into a robot version of what you already were. So
that's a weird way to take over the world.
The story can get so convoluted. It's been told, the first 2 or 3 Sonic games, it's all the same. And then when they started on some of the 3D platforms, it was a different. They went to a different way of telling it.
Yeah.
Like in the first Sonic, Sonic and Robotnik used to be friends.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like I said, it's a very convoluted story. So you just got to almost make up the story as you go.
I can see Sega being like, look, just kill the robots, you're freeing your animal friends, and beat Dr. Robotnik. Don't overthink this.
Yeah.
Run fast.
Yeah. Michael Jackson shoes. That's a true story, by the way. The shoes for Sonic were inspired by Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yep.
So Sonic comes from Michael Jackson and Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Well, the music and everything for a 16-bit system is what led Michael Jackson to try to come on to Sonic 3. Wait a minute.
I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
No, I mean, he really did. He was just unnamed because of all his scandals at the time.
Oh, yeah, which are still, happening. And the reason why Sonic 3 is not on any of the collections or the mini Sega Genesis.
Part of it. That's sad, too. But you can't say that it's not on any of them because I've got Sonic 3 on Xbox 360.
Really?
Yeah, the arcade version. Well, I mean, it's not an arcade. It's through the Xbox arcade.
They changed the music?
No.
Huh.
Mm-mm.
I wonder why it's not in because you remember that Sega collection that came out a few years ago?
It was on it.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking it wasn't.
Mm-mm.
Well, it's not going to be on the mini.
No.
Which comes out in, 2 months? I've already pre-ordered mine.
I thought it didn't come out till September.
That is in 2 months.
So anyway, Clint's had another stroke. I keep thinking that it's still June.
Well, this year has flown by.
Man, it has. It absolutely has. Like, Maze has a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks.
Then you got a birthday not long after that.
I do. And then my wife's got a birthday right like 2 days before Maze.
My gosh.
So now, ask me what I've got my wife for her birthday.
What'd you get your wife for your birthday?
I have no idea. Ask me what I got my kid for my birthday.
What'd you get your kid for your birthday?
for his birthday. I have no idea.
Well, an admission of negligence on Clint's part.
Well, going back to the levels, just naming them real quick. You had the Emerald Hill Zone, which was the very easy one.
Yeah, nice serene.
You had Chemical Plant, and
I
of
hate
course,
the chemical plant zone.
you hate the chemical.
I
love
hate
the
it.
music though.
The music's amazing, but I just I hate it.
I think the part that I hated about it was that when you got later into the second act, that it had that water area.
Yeah.
And that's like where a lot of people struggle.
That was like the water area in X-Men too.
Yeah.
It just adds anxiety.
From there you go to the Aquatic Ruin Zone,
Mm-hmm.
and then Casino Night.
Another one that my biggest memory of Casino Night is actually just watching you play and watching you spending hours ding 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 just bouncing off stuff. I could hear it in my sleep.
Well, that and the gambling. That's the first time that I really figured out what slots machines were. So then from there you go to the Hilltop,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mystic Cave, and the Oil Ocean. That was a pretty neat level because the ocean's made of oil.
That's terrifying.
Which was neat when they remade it in Sonic Mania, because you got the fire shield.
Yeah.
You could set the ocean on fire with the fire shield, so it's like had like a background effect to it, and it would like smog up everything. It was really cool.
Oh wow, that's pretty neat.
And then you got the Metropolis zone.
You helped Superman?
Well, and I'll get to this part of it here in just a little bit, but Metropolis zone was the only zone that had 3 acts. Everything else had 2. For whatever reason, Metropolis had 3.
Guess they were really proud of it. It's like, we want you to play this 3 times.
Well, there's a story behind it, but like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. From there, you go to the Sky Chase zone where Tails is flying the airplane and Sonic's on top.
Because not only is he a juvenile fox with 2 tails, he's also an accomplished airplane pilot.
I don't know about accomplished. I've died a lot of times because of Tails on that stupid airplane.
A biplane, too.
It is
like
a
an old school World War I biplane.
And then from there, it's the Wing Fortress zone, which is Robotnik's airship. And then from there, the Death Egg. Now, I've kind of held off on talking about the Death Egg. Death Egg is basically the Death Star with a mustache, a nose, and 2 eyes.
So,
and it's like, hey, Disney, we don't want to get sued, so we're going to make this look just a little bit different.
Well, back then it was Lucas.
Well, that's true.
So, Michael Jackson, Dragon Ball Z, and Star Wars
have all influenced this game.
Okay.
Anything else? Now, going back to Metropolis, why it had 3 acts, there are a couple of hidden zones that you can find if you have a Game Genie. One of them is the Wood Zone, and the other is the Hidden Palace. If you use a Game Genie and go into them, they're just incomplete levels. I think the Wood Zone is a little more complete than the other one. And this is also something that you kind of find in Sonic 3 also, that there are unfinished zones in Sonic 3 because, of course, it was supposed to be a 1 cartridge game.
Yeah.
And they ended up using Hidden Palace in Sonic and Knuckles. And then the hidden zone that's in Sonic 3 is Mushroom Hill, and the Sandopolis zone. Both of those are in Sonic and Knuckles also. So they ended up finding a place for them. And then on the iOS version of Sonic 2, if you play in the Mystic Cave zone, there's an area where there's a pit, and you just fall in it, you can't get out of it, what have you. Well, that's the secret entrance to Hidden Palace zone. So what they've done is when they remade the zone, when they remade the game, they went back and completed the zone, and you can go through, and there's different enemies and stuff that are there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
So it's just kind of their way of kind of completing what they wanted to do from the get-go.
Yeah, that happened a lot back in those days. They had a different vision, a more, a much bigger vision for the game. And they just were limited by the technology.
Well, they're limited by the technology, but if you also think too, it's kind of what happens with today's games and why you have more DLC. You buy a game and the first thing you got to do is update the game.
Yeah.
So, and then you get your downloadable content like with your Halo 3s, where all the maps that we had to buy for it and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's good and bad because, whenever they send this game out, it's got to be perfect. It can't have any bugs. You know, I won't say any bugs.
Because you can't patch it online.
You can't patch it online. You know, and I remember, you know, PlayStation 2, where like Rock Band or Guitar Hero, if you wanted the extra tracks, you had to buy a whole nother game. It was an expansion pack.
Well, that was like Halo 2 for the original Xbox.
Yeah.
You had to buy a whole different multiplayer pack.
Yep.
For the maps.
Yep.
It makes you
We've come
wonder.
a long way.
Well, it's almost like with all these day one patches and updates and stuff, it's almost like they're not putting as much testing and
Yeah.
they're not trying as hard with the newer games.
Well, you know,
they know, oh, we can just patch it.
Yeah, we'll just patch it as we go. And eventually, yeah, they get it patched, but, you know, at what cost? Because, you know, like Master Chief Collection.
Oh,
how
gosh.
messed up was that game?
Oh man, what a letdown!
Grand Theft Auto 5, the online mode.
Oh goodness, yeah,
that was messed up for what, a month?
I mean, they got it fixed and it's great and all, but yeah, it took a while.
And then what's the other one? The Assassin's Creed game, Unity.
Most Ubisoft games.
Well, yeah.
I'll say this: if an Ubisoft game comes out after about 2 years, it's an incredible game.
Sure. Sure. Well, you know, Ubisoft, especially the Assassin's Creed series, they're really hard on themselves to try to get a new game out every year.
Yeah, I'm glad that they took time off for this next one.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job rebooting that series, or a soft reboot of that series. But yeah, after anything to me after Assassin's Creed 4 was just crap.
Oh man,
until the soft reboot.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you had Syndicate, which was the British twins, and then
I never played it. I played Unity. Unity was a broken mess.
Yeah,
I've heard that it's fine.
I've heard that it's fine now,
but I don't have the desire to go back and play it.
Burn me once.
Shame on you.
Yeah. Back to Sonic though, had what did I say, over 20 re-releases on various systems.
Yeah.
So between PlayStation,
it's almost as bad as Skyrim.
Yeah. Between the phone style, the different, you know, Xbox One, Xbox 360, there's been over 20 different releases of this one game. That's crazy.
And you know, I didn't have a Genesis growing up. I didn't get one until I was an adult.
Yeah.
And I wanted it so bad for Sonic 2. I love Sonic 2. And I remember going to the store one day and seeing the old Tiger handheld of Sonic 2.
Yep.
I was like, yes, I finally got it.
Well, see, growing up, we had a Game Boy, but I always wanted a Game Gear because I had it in my head that if I had a Game Gear, I could play Sonic 2 on the go. Well, that's not exactly true because it's a little bit different game.
What you needed was a Sega Nomad.
What I needed was a Nomad, exactly. But forever and ever, I always wanted one. Well, whenever I did the same thing. Whenever I come across the little Tiger handheld Sonic 2, I was like, this is fine. But no, it wasn't.
You play it, it's like, what is this?
What is this junk?
This sucks.
So, and one of my favorite things.
But now I want to buy another Tiger Sonic 2 and play it.
Well, I guess they had their spots, but just like any game,
that's more of a nostalgia thing.
Yeah,
mine
more
long since been thrown away. $15 on eBay though.
What?
Yeah,
it was 20 or 25 brand new. That's crazy.
Yeah, cheaper. They mass produced them.
Well, yeah. But you know, I say the same thing about, you know, if you go to a retro store now and try to pick up a game, how it's $20. You know, when we did Siphon Filter, you could go online and find Siphon Filter for $20, and it's the greatest hit edition. Well, the greatest hit edition was $20 back in 1998, whenever it come out. So it's pretty. I don't know.
I was gonna say those Tiger Electronics are like deer in America. There's more now than when they were first discovered.
But one of the great things about these old games, to me, because you don't, not everybody had a Game Genie, and I think it's one of the.
I've never owned one.
I've got one, but
Remember Game Shark too?
Yeah, that was the PlayStation version.
Really?
Yeah.
They just got to have their own everything, don't they?
Well, it was not necessarily the PlayStation version, but because it was a completely different media.
Okay.
It was a CD.
Yeah, CD.
Because I think the Game Shark was more like a memory card. Like you couldn't save with a Game Shark, but you put the Game Shark in, and it's like a memory card.
Okay.
And that's how they got through that. Because everything else of the Game Genie was almost like Sonic and Knuckles, where it locks on.
Yeah.
So
plug it in, then you put the game on.
Right. But yeah, the cheats, and I think that's one thing that's really missing. Not unlockables, but actual cheats. I think that's one thing that's missing from games today.
Well, I think a lot of cheats back then were probably used by the developers.
Oh, absolutely. Especially like Sonic 2. It had a debug mode.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what a debug mode is, or at least with the Sonic version, you kind of break the game a little bit, and you can go exploring the entire level and the makeup and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you can also put random items. So like if you wanted 100 shield boxes in a row just to see what it looked like, you could put 100 shield boxes in a row. It's kind of like maybe the precursor to Forge in Halo 3.
Well, it was something, like I said, it was something developers could use to look around real quick.
Sure.
Make sure everything's good and working. Hey, we need something there.
Well, you want to talk about something that'll break a game in a heartbeat? You put too many things on the screen at one time, it'll break the game.
So when you talk about 100 shield boxes in a row, you weren't speaking hypothetically.
No, gosh, no.
You've done that.
Like, there's a debug mode in Sonic 1 also, and I always used it to, not always, but I got to where I would use it, and I'd put 50 rings like right before the post to see the other ring show up, the big ring to get to the special stage to show up. Because you get to the end and be like, okay, I've got 48 rings, but I want to get to the special stage. Well, I think it's C. You hit C and go to the debug mode and put 2 rings and get it, and all of a sudden that thing will flash up.
Because A, B, and C do the exact same thing. All the Sonic games could just use one button.
Well, it could have, but then how would you play Mortal Kombat with its high kick?
Well, they should have released a special Sonic controller. It's one button.
Well, they had that. Well, we talk about the Master System. I've never actually seen one. Did it have 3 buttons?
I think it might have.
I don't know.
I'll be looking that up while you're talking about the cheat codes again.
One of my favorite cheat codes was the level select code.
Yeah.
That way, and it wasn't just level select and you go to the first act of of whatever level you wanted to go to. You could go to Act 2, Act 3, whatnot. It only had 2 buttons?
Yep.
Wow. There you go. Hammy on the spot. Put that in your Google machine.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
So we talked about debug. We talked about level select. They also had a all 7 emeralds code where you could start out the game with all 7 emeralds, and all you had to do is just get the 50 rings and become supersonic.
As I watched you do earlier.
Well, it's just, I don't know. I was messing around.
It's the first time I've seen supersonic in
See,
Sonic 2.
I find that crazy, but at the same time, like you said, you were a Super Nintendo kid. You weren't even a Nintendo kid. You were a Super Nintendo.
I played
kid.
Sega at your house and another kid's house.
Yeah,
that was it.
Well, I remember my buddy Brandon. We were in the 3rd grade, and he came over to my house one day. And when you do things as a kid, you kind of think about, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like Brandon came over, and it was on my uncle's original Sega.
Yeah,
and I was like, hey, watch me beat, because it's a 1-player game. I was like, hey man, watch me beat Sonic. So we get about the 3rd level. He's like, all right, I want to go outside. And I'm like, no, we're going to beat this game. So I remember that. But yeah, I was kind of a nerdy kid a little bit. And I guess I was a selfish kid too. I guess that makes me selfish.
Watch me beat this game. You have to watch.
But
his eyes pried open like Clockwork Orange.
But yeah, I love this game. Hey, look at that. I thought the box art was cool. I mean,
yeah.
It had Robotnik holding the 2, and you had Sonic and Tails, and you're kind of looking at it like, man, who's this other cat with Sonic? And
well, Sonic was a great mascot for Sega.
Yeah,
I mean that was their answer to Mario.
Well, before that, it was I want to say Kid Icarus, but that's not right. It was somebody that really wouldn't ever made it as a mascot anywhere else, but that's just because they didn't have anybody before Sonic.
And Sonic just had that right amount of attitude.
Well, that generation,
coolness.
That Generation X, Generation Y coming up, it's just like you said, attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in
90s,
100%.
I would say Sonic,
to this day, I eat chili dogs because of Sonic the Hedgehog.
I would say Sonic is a greater epitome of the 90s than even Mario.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Mario's iconic in his own way, but as far as a generational thing.
Yeah, I mean, Mario's timeless, but Sonic.
which is why he didn't make it out of the 90s very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the popularity of Sonic.
He's stuck in the 90s with all my hopes and dreams.
Well, Sonic, this game helped propel him into the national stage, even
Oh yeah,
more so than Sonic 1.
Well, there were
because it was
more,
everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you had comics. We had so many of the comics.
They are in that box. I'm pointing behind me in the closet to a old Nike shoe box, and I have all of my Sonic comics are in there. Now I'm not missing any that I was supposed to have, but I'm missing some where I missed, a month or something.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the Sonic Spinball version of that Sonic comic.
You could probably find it.
Probably
not too expensive.
Well, they don't make them anymore.
That's true.
They stopped with the Sonic comic. Just
maybe they made enough.
Maybe. And like the 25th issue, you had the 25th issue.
Yeah.
They had the silver pin.
All mine are thrown away.
We can't be friends.
I didn't throw them away.
Well,
just like I didn't give all my Super Nintendo games to Goodwill either.
Yeah, somebody made off very, very well on that one.
They did, and it took me years to buy back my collection.
Have you got it all back?
I have.
Okay, everything that you had at least.
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, it propelled Sonic into a comic book, which went on to be the longest. Let's see how they word this. The longest comic book based on a video game character, strictly a video game character,
and it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, it got kind of stupid at the end,
but it followed.
A lot of the games.
Yeah.
Up to a point, and then it kind of started branching off into a story, and then not reset a couple of times.
I remember the walrus is named Boomer, or no, he's Rotor, and then he was Boomer.
No, he's Boomer. Then
Boomer, then Rotor.
Mr. Ray, my 4th grade teacher, used to call me Boomer because of that. He called me Boomer all the time because I walk in 4th grade with a Sonic the Hedgehog comic book, and I don't know how he figured it. I guess he caught me with it and saw the guy's name was Boomer. He said, "I'm gonna call you Boomer the rest of the year," and I said, "I don't care."
I'll wear that with pride.
Absolutely.
The cartoons. There have been
now we were blessed enough to have 2 cartoons in our heyday,
which kind of weird because they were nothing alike, but they had the same guy. It was
Urkel.
What's his name? Yeah,
Urkel.
Played Steve Urkel. What was his real name?
Steve White.
Jaleel White.
Jaleel White. Why did I say Steve White?
I don't know. Anyway. He voiced Sonic in both the cartoons.
Yeah. And
they were so different.
Yeah, you had one that was really serious about trying to stop Robotnik, from basically taking over the world, and it had a whole other cast of characters, and that's where like your Princess Sally and all that, and that's where they came into the comic books as well.
Yeah.
But then you had the other one that was super cartoony.
Yeah, well, it was like Roadrunner to me.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. Like, hey, how are we going? Robotnik's always like, how are we going to catch Sonic today?
And that came on. I remember it came on early in the mornings.
Yeah, it did. But that right there, I think, was the first one to go to syndication, though, because I remember watching it like every day, like 2 episodes in a row.
I would get up early before school and watch it.
So,
which was your favorite between the 2?
I enjoyed the cartoony one just because it was Sonic.
Yeah.
But I always enjoyed the Saturday morning one.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, because
that's my favorite one.
The theme song,
we're gonna have to add that theme song to the
You think so?
Yeah, it's gonna.
Or we could just sing it like we did the X-Men thing.
They don't want to hear that again.
Yeah, the lyrics to it were just great, and again, it just screams 90s, in attitude. They didn't really incorporate the rings. They didn't incorporate like the stages or anything like that. I
know they had the rings because he'd get a power ring.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He had the one power ring, and that's where he got all his super speed and everything from. So,
did they ever go Supersonic in the cartoon?
No,
missed opportunity.
I think that the cartoon, because it didn't stick with the game very well, that it kind of lost a lot of flavor with people.
And they never added those characters to any of the video games, did they?
They did.
What?
They did, and we'll save that for another episode. Well, no, I'll tell you here in a minute. But anyway.
Yeah, because I don't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they all made appearance. Obviously, Tails was there. Knuckles was never in the Saturday morning.
Was it in that Sonic Generations game?
Oh, my God, will you let me talk?
Maybe.
This is what I do to you, isn't it?
It is.
I'm sorry.
It's revenge.
All right, well, stop. Dadgummit. Tails was in it, obviously. Knuckles never made an appearance in the cartoon.
Another missed opportunity.
Yeah. Well, dude, I could go on about Sonic forever. I really could. Maybe not forever, but I could do a lot on Sonic.
Well, this SD card can only hold so much.
Okay, well, I'll try to fill the SD card up. The characters from the Sonic Saturday morning cartoon and the Sonic comics did make an appearance in Sonic Spinball.
Really?
So whenever you made it to a bonus area in Sonic Spinball, which is just basically Sonic playing a pinball machine, your friends were trapped by Robotnik in it. So you'd have to hit little things and you could free like Rotor and Bunny, Antoine, who else? Sally was in it. And it seems like there was another. Maybe Jeffrey the skunk was in it. It seems like I'm missing somebody.
Some old guy.
Tails wasn't a player character.
Okay.
Playable character. But
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But like, you had the introduction of Uncle Chuck.
That's what I was thinking of, Uncle Chuck. Yeah.
Yeah. He was in the Sonic Saturday morning cartoon. And see, that was always weird because, at one point he's a robot, then the next point he's not. Like, he's got a robot body, but his mind's back. And like, it jumped all over the place. But the Sonic Saturday morning cartoon only lasted 1 year or one season.
Wow.
Yeah. After all of that, it only lasted one season. And at the end...
How many episodes?
20-something, maybe?
Feels like there were more.
I might be wrong on the number, but it only lasted one season. Because they had it set up to where Sonic was going to go to the flying... What is it? The floating island. They were going to go to the floating island.
So they were going to bring Knuckles
But
in.
they even said that they were going to reintroduce a character. So they brought the floating island, which is, where Knuckles is at in Sonic 3. And they never really called anything a Chaos Emerald. It was always that Power Stone. And the Power Stone is what created the rings.
Okay, that's weird.
So it kind of got weird. And because it didn't follow the game necessarily, it kind of lost flavor.
Which one was the cartoon that he ate chili dogs all the time?
Both.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't
Yep.
it? Because you and I both love chili dogs because of Sonic.
Because of that. I remember going to a church get-together with Diane.
I remember that.
And we weren't going to go, and we talked her into having chili dogs, so we both showed up for chili dogs.
That's the only reason we were there.
That's the only reason we were there. We didn't care about hanging out with those other kids. We just wanted the chili dogs.
We're nerds.
So, but yeah, chili dogs were in Sonic 2 in the Casino Night Zone, where you had the little chili dogs. You could hit them 3 times. It was like a red light almost. It was green, and you hit it, it turned yellow. You hit it, it turned red, and you hit it the last time, it'd go away.
Now I want chili dogs.
That would be good. May have to go to Sonic and get a chili dog. So, yeah, I think everybody's about tired of me talking about Sonic 2. Great game. I loved it. Still love it. Still love to play it. I've got it. I've got it on almost anything I've got. I've got it on 360. I've got it on Xbox One. I've got it on my phone. I'll be on the toilet playing Sonic 2 every so often. I got the one for PlayStation 2, the collection.
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't make. Mania obviously has come out, but why did it take them so long to go from 3 to Mania before they made a decent? And they even come out with 4, and 4 was awful because
it took fans, man. It took real fans.
It really did. Christian Whitehead, is that who did that?
Sure.
I think that's. You're just agreeing with me now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a true HD remake would be awesome.
That would be great.
Chemical Plant's in. You don't know this. I'm just going to tell you. Chemical Plant Zone is in Sonic Mania.
Sure.
So whenever they, I can't do this anymore. Well, just heads up, listen up, heads up, 7-Up to this next Sonic the Hedgehog track. Again, that I love just because I'm a nerd and I love Sonic 2.
All right, now for the part that Clint hates the most.
Oh, goodness.
It's a question. It's another one I came up with because we're really having a hard time getting people sending us questions. Clint, what console or handheld do you not own, retro or modern, that you really want the most? Actually, take that back. Only retro. But retro console or handheld that you do not own right now that you really would like to get.
Well, got a Nintendo, got a Super Nintendo, got a Virtual Boy, got a Game Boy, got a Sega. I played Sonic CD. I can't think of a whole lot of other games for the Sega CD and all that. I mean, I guess it'd be neat to have them.
Yeah.
I have no use for an OG Xbox. I've got a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2. I kind of always wanted a PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Weirdly. If you didn't, but, to answer your question wholeheartedly, though, if you wouldn't have thrown the retro on there, I think the one that I wish I kind of had right now would be a Switch. As much crap as I give you about you having a Nintendo Switch and everything, I think that's the one thing I think I'd like to have, especially if they release Super Nintendo games on it.
Oh, man. If they do that, they can
take my money. Shut up and take my money.
Exactly.
So that would be mine. How about yours?
One you have, the Virtual Boy. I want a Virtual Boy
for all 12 games that came out with it,
and I want to blind myself.
That's all it's good for, buddy. A lot of red, a lot of black.
Yeah, I mean Mario Tennis and Wario, of course, the two most popular games for it.
Yep.
I want to play Waterworld for it. I don't know why.
It's a terrible movie. Why would you want to?
It's like over $100. I don't know. I want to play it.
Well,
but
if not the Virtual Boy, then what?
Probably a Game Gear.
Okay. See, I was going to say Nomad, but I mean, if I'm going to go handheld just for Sega games,
Nomad would be cool. But
yeah, if I was going to go handheld just for Sega games, I might as well just wait for Nintendo to put it out. I mean, they've made everything else. I mean, all the Sonic Advances and all that kind of stuff for the Game Boy Color and whatnot.
Oh, well, the thing about Game Gears is their capacitors go bad, their screens kind of go bad. So
yeah,
a lot of the ones you find on eBay said that they've got new capacitors, they've got a new screen, better screen, and an AC adapter. Because that thing took 6 AA batteries?
Yeah,
was it? And it went through those in about 20 minutes.
You're talking about the Nomad or the Game Gear?
The Game Gear.
Yeah, it was 6.
I mean, it sucked the life out of them so fast.
Well, see, and the original, or as I like to say, OG Game Boy with the black and white screen, man, it seemed like those things went on forever, though.
Well, let's get it right. The weird halfway between yellow, halfway between green and black screen.
Well,
yeah, I'm pretty sure when I first got my Game Boy back in the very early 90s for my brother for Christmas, the same batteries I put in it are still powering it today. That could be an exaggeration.
Well, I know when we went to the beach, obviously if I didn't have to drive, I would have played it.
Oh, those were the days, weren't they?
Oh man,
you didn't have to drive.
Didn't have to drive, and you sit there and just play your Game Boy the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And just listen to your mom and dad scream at you about turn the sound down. You don't have to have sound to play a game.
Or your CD player.
Oh man, my CD player. I was like one of the last kids to ever get a CD player, and when I did, the portable CD player. When I finally did, I think I got like 2, maybe 3 CDs with it. Do you know what my very first CD was? I've told you this.
What was it?
The Godzilla soundtrack.
That was one of my first. Godzilla 98 and the Mortal Kombat Annihilation soundtrack.
My big thing, because I kind of got on a kick with Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
They had a CD that came with that called Killer Cuts. And it was like one of the very first gaming CDs that I remember. I mean, because of course with a cartridge and everything, you had limitations with the Super. But when you plug that thing in, man, I love the music to that. And I think you can even find it today, the downloadable version, Spotify or whatnot. And I listened to it the other day and still thought it was pretty decent.
Oh yeah. I mean, video games have put out some good music over the years.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about Halo the other day, and then we're talking about how the Sonic. That's one thing I do wish I could find. I wish I could find a Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, and or 3 music CD that was the original music. Like I can't find one. I don't know why. There's lots of. I mean, you can find it on like YouTube,
Yeah.
where somebody's ripped it from the game or whatnot. But where I don't necessarily have to watch it on YouTube. I'd like put it on my phone and just kind of go with it.
Well, you can get MP3s from that.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. Like, I wish I could find the actual like from Sega the CD of it.
Did they do soundtracks like that back then? Besides the Killer Instinct,
I don't know. It seems like they did it for Donkey Kong Country, but I can't find that CD either.
Huh. Yeah, I went to. Did I ever tell you I went to a Video Games Live concert when it came to Birmingham?
Yeah, it was an orchestra kind of thing.
It was,
yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, the fandom for video game music is real. I mean, there were a lot of people there who weren't even really big gamers. They just loved the music, and it was awesome. It was absolutely incredible, the whole thing. Justin got me tickets for it for my birthday in 2008.
Wow. I don't think I've ever been to a video game concert, but over the years, I guess just for the nostalgia, I have really longed for some of the old video game music. Like I said this last week, I find myself listening to like the Halo soundtrack, quite a bit. And even when we did Donkey Kong Country, how I will just randomly text you and say I've got Gangplank Gallon in my head. I don't know, man. Just it seems like there should be a way for that to take place.
Yeah. Now, and I wish, Jeff is you're. I know you're listening, and I know you're probably screaming at me right now. But there's a podcast he talks about a lot. That I've forgotten the name of it. That they do a lot of video game music, and they'll play it, they'll talk about it, and it's basically committed to it. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. I will find out before the next episode. And
I
will give them a shout out.
Okay, well, good deal. And the same, just because we did a Halo episode, I've been looking for a just something to listen to, kind of in the background at work, and I found a Halo podcast that just talks specifically about the game and the story behind the game.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
if I could find my phone, I would text him now. I've misplaced it.
That's the second time this episode that you've misplaced your phone.
No, it's not in my pocket this time.
Yeah.
Well, we'll worry about it next week.
Well, where was I going with that? What did I say?
Halo podcast.
Halo podcast. That's right. They did an episode 0, kind of like we did episode 1 with an introduction, just kind of tell who they are, why they love this, yada yada yada. And the first episode was about Halo 1, just the story. And like they went really in depth with it. And they said they're going to cover the books, they're going to cover the video games, they're going to cover the videos that's been made, just a lot of the stuff that's kind of canon.
Yeah.
That they consider canon anyway. So, pretty neat podcast.
Well, good luck to them.
If I can, well, I've got my phone. I can tell you exactly right now what it's called. It's not there. This podcast is called Finish the Fight, a Halo podcast. So it's been pretty good so far. I'm really expecting to enjoy it.
They did a great what was it called? Like Hunting the Truth, I think, podcast. That was like almost like the old radio shows.
Yeah,
they did that building up to Halo 5. Like it was almost telling a story, almost like a prequel to Halo 5. They did 2 seasons of it. It was great. You need to check that out. That was another podcast that Jeff got me onto. Okay. Jeff is the podcast guru.
They've done 7 episodes. I think they do 2 episodes a month. But like I'm looking at one here where they're talking about Halo 2 in specific, or in particular. I say that all the time. Specifically, there you go.
I got a friend that says Pacific instead of specific.
That drives me crazy. Because Maze did that one time. He said, I got to tell you something specifically. I said, what, the ocean? And he just kind of stopped. Like, what are you talking about?
Why don't you tell me Atlantically?
Yeah. But their latest episode for Halo 2 is 2 hours and 49 minutes long.
Wow.
And that's not just a review of the game. That's like a review of the story. And hey, I will throw this out there. If there is anyone out there that is listening to us and you would like for us to do something like that, not just review the game, but review the story, I'm down for it. I don't know if Hammy is. He's kind of giving me a look right now.
Well, I'm trying to think about like for instance, the Halo story.
Sure.
Like we really want to go in depth with a lot of the behind the.
Well, they talked about, like in this one thing, they talked about how, Microsoft had to buy it, or they bought Bungie.
Yeah.
But Bungie was going to make it for Apple, and it was going to be a third person shooter at first, and all that kind of stuff. See, that was stuff that probably was pertinent to us in our last episode.
I sent Jeff a text. I don't know if he may be busy.
Well, if they give us a shout out, or if we find out who it is, we will give them a shout out on Twitter. What are you doing?
I'm just scrolling. I don't know. I'm scrolling through.
The way you scroll is hilarious.
He's probably I know he's mentioned it 1,000 times, and I have a very short attention span.
Do you suffer from long-term memory loss?
I can't remember.
That was probably the second CD I owned, or the same CD that I got with my portable.
Chumbawamba.
The Chumbawamba. My mother bought me a CD for Christmas based off of one terrible but yet popular song,
Tub Thumper,
and we found and we found the greatest song ever, and it's called Amnesia.
I would love to just do some episodes just on the 90s in general.
It's called Retro Review. It's not called Retro Game Review.
You're right. I mean, the music, the movies, the shows.
We could do it. We could do an entire episode. We could probably do an entire 2-hour long episode just on 1997. The things that came out in 97. If that wasn't the best year of entertainment, overall entertainment, I don't know what was.
Yeah. 97, 99 is good.
Yeah. 2000? I'm drawing a blank what all came out in 2000. 97, 90, 96. 96 was Jurassic Park, was it not?
93 was Jurassic Park.
93. 96 was Forrest Gump.
Okay.
Maybe. If I'm incorrect in that, hit me up on Twitter and tell me I'm stupid.
Hashtag you're wrong again, Clint.
Hashtag
wrong again, Clint.
Yeah, for real. So, anyway, anything else on Sonic 2? I'm pretty sure I covered a bunch of it.
No, we're good.
Nothing back from Jeff yet?
Not yet.
Okay, well, I guess that's it. Join us next time when you might hear Hammy say
40 seconds, but I want it now.
Blue streak speeds by, Sonic the Hedgehog, too fast for the naked eye. Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic.